Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this day at Quimper Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We share this sanctuary as a space of safety and nurture. We join in community to find inspiration as we explore the spiritual gifts of curiosity, compassion, reverence, and respect. Meg Barnhouse uses the metaphor of a beautiful garden where each component is accepted and valued. Here are her words. We gather to worship, our hearts alive with hope, that here we will be truly seen, that here we will be welcomed into the garden of this community, where the simple and the elegant, the fluted and the frilled, the shy and dramatic complement one another and are treasured. May we know that here each contributes in their way to the beauty of the whole. Come, let us worship together, all genders, sexualities, politics, clappers and non-clappers. We'll figure it out one of these days. Progressive and conservative, may we root ourselves in the values of this faith. My name is Sarah Walker, and I am a member of the board here at QUUF. As we gather, I acknowledge that the water, land, and shorelines here in Port Townsend are the traditional territory of the Chimicum and S'Klallam peoples. We honor and acknowledge our Indigenous members and neighbors and vow to help restore and sustain these homelands. If you're visiting today, I offer you a special welcome and invite you to join us for refreshments and conversation in the fellowship hall after the service. We have a newcomers table near the patio doors in that direction where our greeters are available to answer your questions. We welcome you all this morning, and we're glad you're here. We have a couple of speakers this morning, and I think you're really going to appreciate hearing from our new minister, Don Rollins.
Hello, folks out in Port Townsend. My name really is Don Rollins. I really do exist, and I really am your interim minister. I just want to take a minute to say hello because we haven't had a chance to touch base and live, except for those people who are doing your leadership, which, by the way, are just doing a great job. So just a heads up that if you look at my column in today's weekly update, if you have access, that will give you some more information about what we're doing together. But in the meantime, I just want to say hello, and we plan to be with you again sometime next week. We'll do a recorded version. And then, of course, the big get-together will be January 1st of next year. So again, hang in there. I'll see you soon.
Clap. All of the above. We also want to welcome Joanne Herron here to speak with us about covenant groups. We have sign-ups for covenant groups and affinity groups starting today. So let's listen to what Joanne has to share.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joanne Herron. I have been a member of QUF for 18 years. I volunteered in the office for several years and have been a member of both the aesthetics team and more recently the stewardship team. But the longest association has been with my covenant group, which I joined in early 2011 as soon as I retired from the Marine Science Center. Over these years, some of the members have rotated out, some have rotated back in, some have gone on to other groups, but there has still been an amazing stability and commitment within our group. I first heard about covenant groups shortly after joining QUUF. I had no idea what they were or why I would want to be part of one. An elder member, who some of you may remember, named Marcia Luton, spoke to the congregation much as I am doing now. She practically yelled at us, "You have to become a member of a covenant group. These are the people who will bury you." I thought that was a bit strange, strong and even scary as a recruitment strategy, but now I do understand what she meant. Over those 14 years, 2 of our members have died, and 3 and almost 4 of our spouses. We have supported each other through illness and operations. We have listened to each other's joys and heartbreaks. So what is a covenant group? There are so many ways to answer that. First, it is an extension of the QUUF ministry. It is a way of diving deeper into ethical and spiritual matters. It is a way of getting to know each other better. It is a way of working together to do service within our congregation or the broader community through projects such as making and serving meals at the winter shelter. Every group is different. Some are only women, some mixed. I think at one time there was a men's only group. There is a parents group, there is a Calipoint group, and there could be more regional groups. The groups meet at various times to accommodate people with different schedules. The groups, while each group makes its own covenant among its members, the underlying rule is confidentiality, and usually a commitment to be present with each other. That is, to be a good listener and make an effort to attend the meetings, which can be once or twice monthly, by Zoom, in person, or whatever the members want, whatever they decide. In our group, we usually have a check-in that takes about an hour, and then we break and come back and delve into some meaningful topic about ethical or spiritual concerns. And that is provided, sort of guidance on that is provided by the head facilitator. But there's no strict rule that the group must discuss a particular topic. So I encourage all of you to join a covenant group. There's sign-ups out here, or at least ask some of us questions to see if that's something you would want to do. So you could even start your own if you wanted to, if a bunch of you wanted to get together. There is guidance available. Some of us old-timers are here to help you get things going, and so I encourage you to at least consider it. Thank you.
Might be an interesting topic during coffee today if you've participated in a covenant group and would like to share more about your own experiences. Thank you, Joanna. Now we have an important chair of our finance committee and promoter of many beautiful musical events, Larry Morrell.
Good morning. Many of you know we have a concert series. We started it last year. How many people attended one of the concerts last year? Weren't they fabulous? Yes. They were great. Well, we're doing it again this year, and so we're kicking it off actually this Saturday. So our first concert will be this Saturday at 2 o'clock. The concert series is about building community. It's about being together. It's about enjoying some wonderful music and being together with each other. In these times where you don't know what's going to happen nationally, internationally, you just don't know what's going on, it's good to be together and just to have a good time, to have some fun. So that's what these series are about. And for the whole communities, we'll be advertising it broadly throughout the year. Tickets are on sale already. Be sure to get your tickets in advance. You get a discount. It's only $20 if you buy them online ahead of time. It's $25 at the door. This year, we also have a different kind of sponsorship opportunity. Now, these concerts are fundraisers for us, but we also compensate the musicians quite handsomely because we think to have a good experience, the musicians need to have a good experience as well as us. So we sponsor them, we feed them, we house them, and we give them a payment. To make this a fundraiser for us, we need sponsorships. So this year, sponsorships are available more broadly. $100 level, $250 level, and a $500 level. With sponsorships, you get free tickets you can use for any of the concerts, and you get your name in the programs. It's also a good way just to feel good about supporting QUF. I do think that these concerts are more than just fun and fundraising. They're a way for us to expand our reach into the community. We have a great acoustic chamber here, and we need to take more advantage of it. So these concerts are a way for us to invite more people in, get them acquainted with QUF, and get them maybe somehow interested in coming back and seeing us again. So support the concerts, be a sponsor. Thank you.
Okay, another small reminder. Remember again that the signups for covenant groups and affinity groups start today, and there are clipboards, I believe, in the foyer that you can look at after the service. And there's also a sign up for our homecoming picnic, which is next week. Check out the screen in the fellowship hall for a lot of other event information. The signups for the homecoming picnic are on the bulletin board straight out the door, a little bit to the left. So now, let us settle our minds and calm our hearts.
Daniel helped us translate that from Arabic. The title means on fire.
Good morning. Facts do not all speak for themselves, but require a socially acceptable narrative to absorb, sustain, and circulate them. That is from a narrate essay from 1984 by Edward Said.
Please join me in our chalice-lighting words. They are from To Bear Love into This World, written by Rachel Hayes. We light this chalice with our hearts turned to the work of our congregation. We have inherited this institution from many generations of people who believed in the power of human beings to bear love into the world. We carry this tradition for those who find comfort, inspiration, and joy within its real and virtual spaces. We tend the spark of imagination and hope for the world to come.
Our opening hymn this morning is number 38. Please rise as you're willing and able. Morning has broken. Words will be up on the wall. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden's a play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. And now, if you're on the aisle, please make an arch and we'll sing out the children. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
We pause now for a time of generosity and to receive an offering to support the life and ministry of QUUF. The ushers will come among you to receive the offering, and additional ways for giving will be projected on the wall. Please join me in our offering words. This fellowship is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it.
This time is set aside to share the joys and sorrows. We recognize that our personal joys and sorrows are only a fragment of the joys and sorrows of the larger community of life. And thus, we place this first stone, thinking in particular of the Palestinians, both within the boundaries of historic Palestine and outside those borders, and of the pain they endure at this time. And now within the congregation, we light a candle of care for Linda Bach. Linda took a bad fall last Wednesday and cracked her left patella, the kneecap. No surgery is required, but she will be in a splint while it heals. Linda, we send you love and comfort and look forward to having you back with us in person. We place a final stone, holding in our hearts the joys and sorrows I've just shared, but also thinking of such joys and sorrows among us that are unexpressed but of no less importance. I welcome you into a silent moment of reflection, meditation, or prayer.
From Clovis Maksud, Palestine is the anvil of our souls.
And a posthumous piece by Rifat Al-Arir, I Teach English Poetry. I teach English poetry this term, and I have 200 students. I posted an announcement on our Facebook group telling them that I'm sorry I can't help enough. I can't protect them as I should be, as a teacher protecting his students. And I asked them to write poetry, Arabic and English articles, and I did help some of them publish articles and pieces and poems as part of my role as a teacher, despite me being extremely under pressure, having my home and my building bombed and having to evacuate to many places and shelters. I usually summarize my policy as, to quote Hamlet, I must be cruel to be kind. Tough love. I tell my students, I'm tough because I love you. I care about you. I want you to be better students. So I worked them hard in terms of attendance and assignments and tasks and exams. Many students fear me generally in life. In university, even outside, they're usually cautious, despite the fact that I try to be as friendly as possible. But again, a tough teacher is always feared in a way. I was queuing at the bakery, and one of my students insisted on giving me his place, and I insisted never, because Israel made everybody equal. He's killing everybody. He's starving everybody, making everybody suffer the same. I would never take your place. I learned from this student and his beautiful gesture of offering me his place, because offering me his place meant I could save an hour or more, and sometimes you could queue for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, by the way, and when you get close, they'd run out of bread. So that's a big sacrifice. Later on, I met another student of mine. I was queuing way ahead. He came, heading to the back of the line, and I met him, and I insisted on giving him my place as a reaction to that student offering his place. He was shocked, and he said, no, there's no way, and I said, I insist. Of course, he didn't take the place. He refused, but again, the gesture, the message, they were there. I'm sure he would do the same for others. You know, learn by examples, by role models. Rifat Al-Arir was targeted for killing on December 6th, 2023. This was published from a voicemail just after he was killed.
You get to sing the special music today. Number 83, Winds Be Still, stand if you like.
Beloved community, speaking of Palestine is always difficult. This year, this day, right now, it is even more so. I am not here to tell you of the horrors. You know them at least as well as I do, and if you don't, hit me up after the service for as many links as you want to indelible images that by rights should never exist. But that is not what I'm here to tell you about. And I am not here to point fingers of blame. Again, after the service, we can talk history and current attacks and my siblings, and we can grieve what has been and is being done. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. We are here today to lift up, and celebrate some small aspects of the culture of Palestine. Even now, through our tears, even now more than ever, to look into the eye of those embroiderers and farmers, dancers and sages, olive growers and goat herds, musicians, scribes and weavers. To listen for the poets, to share a moment of rest in the afternoon breeze over the Sea of Galilee, to look up with the eyes of a child with wonder at the murmurations of starlings soaring over the wetlands, to stop in the desert and follow the hoofbeat of the ibex. The rich traditions and history of Palestine and the people living in it, the Palestinians, are gloriously colored by the geography and history from which they emerge. It is a tradition of stewardship, where the holy places of many religions were traditionally sustained via the quotidian, the daily life of these people, the Palestinians. Let us return to Palestinian scholar Edward Said, whose words opened our service. Facts do not at all speak for themselves, but require a socially acceptable narrative to absorb, sustain, and circulate them. In his 1984 essay, Permission to Narrate, Said asked who it was who would get to tell the stories of Palestinians. It should, by rights, be their own words that tell us who they are. So I bring you Rami Kenazi, who recalls his grandmother in his 2011 book, Poetic Injustice. My grandmother was a painter, mostly landscapes. Now she can only describe them, words like poetry, thoughts like a scholar. No matter how much I read and write, I always feel like a student in the presence of refugees. My grandmother's stories came back like Haifa's waves. The outside world may never mention their names, but the roots of olive trees will never forget what happened. Growing up in Jaffa, Kenazi's grandmother would have had a good view of a rock, known alternately as Andromeda's Rock or Noah's Rock, alluding to two stories from the mythology of Greece or the Hebrew Bible and the Quran. The rock is the very rock which, in Greek mythology, Andromeda was tied to by her father, King Cepheus of Ethiopia. This was as a sacrifice to pacify a sea monster who liked to eat girls. And if it didn't get girls, it would eat whole cities. Luckily for Andromeda, Perseus happens to be flying by on his winged sandals, or on a winged horse, there's all kinds of versions of this, with Medusa's head in his hand. He sees her, falls in love, rescues her, turning the sea monster into a stone with his convenient Medusa head. Palestine is located in the eastern part of the Mediterranean basin. Greek mythology is all over Palestine, along with the stories of others who traveled to it and through it and occupied it and got kicked out, and history, you know. Like many pilgrims to the Holy Land, which is another one of Palestine's names, we are coming in through the Jaffa port a bit early in the year to smell the scent of the citrus groves that dominated the cities, the heavy scent of flowers at night that would soon turn into the sweetest oranges. The terroir near Jaffa is especially appropriate for the sweet, nearly seedless oranges, illustrated here in 1937 by USDA watercolorist James Marion Shull. These oranges had been developed by Palestinian farmers in the 19th century, a hybrid of the locally prevalent baladi oranges, which means down-home oranges, the country's oranges, with something thicker skinned and more suitable for export. Did you see those farmers in the echoes of their hybrid oranges? Edward Said says in his 1970 essay, The Palestinian Experience, that the major distraction to any scrutiny of the region has been everyone's unwillingness to allow for a Palestinian presence. This has been no less true of the Palestinians themselves. The present stage of the Palestinian experience is a problematic early transition for being in exile to becoming Palestinian once again. From Jaffa, let's go inland. Following the Ottoman-era railway and the work of Palestinian farmers, to the village of Batir, known for its Roman-era irrigation system, which is still in use. We see it here in a photograph from 1893. 8 families tended these terraces and grew its famous eggplant, the Bitinjan Batiri, among other crops. They say that in Batir, a week has 8 days, one for the rotation of each family tending the crops. The farming of this land of olives and vines, photographed here in 2022 by Ali Batha, the farming continues, and the tending continues down to this day using the same terraces and irrigation systems, the same pools, and the very same families. One of the members of the Abu Nima family, my dear friend Ali, spoke here at this pulpit in the sanctuary in favor of nonviolent resistance in 2010. In this very room, he reminded us that every Palestinian child could have food and water and safety without any Israeli child losing their food and water and safety. Stewardship is etched into the very practices of child raising in Palestine. The stewardship of the holy places in Jerusalem can give you a sense of this. Control of this church, consecrated. I think we have a picture coming up. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, consecrated in 335 of the Common Era, demolished in 1009 and rebuilt a few decades later, and sacred to what Wikipedia assures me are several Christian denominations and secular entities, was a case in point. In 1757, these groups and denominations agreed to freeze the situation as it stood and stop bickering over control of the building, right down to its immovable ladder, which signifies the visible moment of truce, where everyone agrees that everything can remain as it was, status quo. This sufficed for most of the interior of the church, although they did grow some flowers on the ladder, which was a point of contention, but monks. But the entrance door is still in the hands of the Muslim Nusayba family, which it has been either since the 7th century or since Saladin retook Jerusalem from the Crusaders just under 850 years ago. Traditions differ. The Nusayba family opens the door and closes it, and they hold that key in trust. This holding in trust is a facet of Palestinian hospitality, and it starts young. Children just old enough to walk are encouraged to toddle over to guests and offer them food. They have to be a little older before they're trusted with things that could spill. Before turning from Jerusalem, let us peek into the Dome of the Rock, first with a photo by Muhammad al-Sharawneh showing the rock. See the hoofprint? That is where, according to the tradition, the horse bearing Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, ascended to the heavens during his night journey, or was it a dream? But let's go outside and observe the tilework in a photo by Leon Petrosian. And an action shot from an artist known as Motaz 093, taken in 2019. The compound where the Dome of the Rock and the neighboring Al-Aqsa Mosque stands is in constant useful worshipful use as well. Even to this day, it is under the control of the Waqf, which is the Islamic trust that maintains control of the compound with considerable effort and clout by the Jordanian government. Palestine has much more beauty to it, but I want to touch one more very important place, so I guess I owe you some Palestine. Some of its north, its desert south, it's the lush mountains of the Galilee and the Jordan River, which is not deep and wide, but it's really gorgeous. Many more places between it and the sea, but for now, let us look to Gaza, the terminal point of the spice route, because its traditions are part and parcel of Palestine's history. I quote from the Gaza Kitchen, Laila El-Haddad and Maggie Schmidt's recent cookbook and Book of Witness, telling of the food traditions of Gaza. Rural areas of Palestine make broad and original use of wild greens, herbs, and root vegetables in humble but satisfying stews. They make something like this in the rest of Palestine, many of the cooks we interviewed would say, as they showed us how to prepare a favorite dish. But we add hot chili and dill. Hot chili and dill, the Gazan combination par excellence, whereas Lebanese cooks tolerate no spicy heat at all, and cooks from other parts of Palestine use spice in moderation, Gazan cooks make you sweat. Whether they're using fresh green peppers, generally crushed in a mortar with lemon and salt, or else ground red chili peppers conserved in oil and sold as a condiment and ingredient called filfil mathoun, much like North African harissa. In many ways, Laila Haddad continues, food in Gaza is classic Palestinian, Middle Eastern cuisine, but it is unique with its own regional diversity, which includes a deep appreciation for the kick of red chili peppers, the zest of Eastern spices, cardamom, cloves, and cinnamon, and the soothing calm of fresh dill and dill seeds. You can see this immediately in the Gaza-style falafel, those delectably crisp, deep-fried morsels of ground chickpeas with spices, universal street food throughout the Middle East from Turkey to the banks of the Nile. In Gaza, though, the addition of chopped chilies and fresh green dill give a special twist to falafel. Or take stuffed grape leaves, warak inab, another classic of the Eastern Mediterranean. Filled with ground meat and rice or bulgur, in Gaza, the filling is sparked with allspice, cardamom, nutmeg, and black pepper, a reflection of Gaza's great crossroads history, connecting the southern Arabia and the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean. That ends the quote from Laila El-Haddad, and even speaking of the foodways of Gaza is heartbreaking. Speaking these words jolts me back to the present, to the siege, where Gaza has been intentionally cut off from food, where its Palestinian population is starving even as we speak of their rice, their bulgur, their seafood, the food they ate when they were allowed to thrive. And this brings me to the UUA General Assembly. In June 2024, the UUA adopted an action of immediate witness declaring solidarity with Palestinians. It starts with the words, "Our Unitarian Universalist faith draws on the moral imperative of radical love, and despite all odds calls us to uphold a world where liberation is real and we all thrive." This action of immediate witness calls upon Unitarian Universalist congregations and communities to be in solidarity with Palestinians by engaging in the following actions based on the guidance of Palestinian and impacted partner organizations. 1, witnessing. call for the liberation of Palestine and an end to this apartheid, declare our moral outrage, and share horror at Israel's massacre, mass incarceration, torture, destruction of the land, and poisoning of the soil for future generations, and decimations of systems of care that support life in the region. Call for an immediate permanent ceasefire, massive humanitarian aid, the release of all captives, and an end of genocide around the world. 2, educating. We're doing that pretty well here in this community. Note also, also catalogs. They're out. Educating, hold teach-ins about Palestine and Israel that include sacred spaces for spiritual processing. Excuse me. And 3, organizing and advocating. Engage with Palestinian-led groups. There is one that was handed out with the order of service, and coalitions supporting liberation. Sign, amplify, and carry out the Apartheid Community's pledge. Support boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Israel and corporate enablers. And end U.S. military aid to Israel until it ceases its policies and practices of apartheid, military occupation, settler colonialism, and genocide. Protect the freedom and safety of solidarity activists by supporting protests and opposing legislation and policies that restrict First Amendment rights. And all that is quoted from the UUA Action of Immediate Witness. None of those will be easy to do. And yet, as Unitarian Universalists, it is right and proper for us to consider this call, this action of immediate witness, and see what we may do. Can we learn? Can we hold in our hearts the words and images from Palestine of Palestinian people, our neighbors and co-stewards with us of our planet?
Our closing hymn is number 109. Please rise as you're willing and able.
Marching, unnumbered women take.
Before we extinguish our chalice, let us lean into more words from Rifat al-Harir, who was so rooted in stewardship that it extended even to his request for next generations, to bring hope for next generations, even while grieving in advance his own death, which he knew would come. We are stewards of his voice, and it will never be silenced. If I must die, you must live, to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so the child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dad who left in a blaze, and bid no one farewell, not even his flesh, not even himself, sees that kite, my kite you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale. Please join us in our chalice extinguishing words. The sharp flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, or the power of transformation. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And just before we depart, we will watch one last bit of Palestinian joy, a Ramallah Dubka troupe dancing in Oxford, England. May we soon get to see that joy live and current again.